incredible sympathy and concern about the devastation and the tragedy that our city and county are facing. And I definitely want to send my condolences to the families who lost loved ones, to the families and neighborhoods who lost property. This firestorm is the big one in magnitude. Hurricane force winds are usually accompanied by rainstorms, but these are hurricane force winds that are combined with extremely dry drought conditions. To provide context, at 10:20 a.m. yesterday, the Palisades fire was at 10 acres. 12 minutes later, it was at 200 acres.
Okay, so this is the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. Why is it like I'm getting the feeling that this lady is so disingenuous? She's reading from a prepared statement. In the previous days, she was being asked questions by the press, and she had no answers. I mean, she had no answers, right? Don't mean she didn't answer the question or she deflected the question. She was silent when they were asking her questions. And she gets up here right now, knowing all the things that we know, that this could have been prevented. She gets up here and read from a prepared statement. Now, one would say, well, why wouldn't she read from a prepared statement? And I'm going to give you an example of why she shouldn't. She could have went up there and said, this is ridiculous. This is a tragedy. We did not prepare properly for this. We defunded the fire department to the tune of less than $18 million, right around $18 million. The state of California took out about $100 million for fire safety. There was a reservoir that we could have filled up, but we did not do that. That is negligence on our part. I'm not a politician. I'm not the mayor. And that's just some of the things that I just came up right then. And everything I just said is true. And then I could continue. Well, we have diversity issues that we chose to make an issue to hire people based on their sex and their gender and who they choose to sleep with, as opposed to if they were qualified for the job. That's conscious decisions that we have made, which leads to a level of ineffectiveness in our fire department. And on the other hand, the other thing that we did was we requested a $49 million reduction in the fire department's budget so we can move that over to our homeless initiative, which does absolutely nothing to curb the homelessness issue in our community. First of all, if I was a politician, everything I just said, I would not have to say it. You have to understand that you're in a position to serve the people, but I do understand politics. Politics is, you gotta have dirt on you. You have to report to the higher ups, because if you don't, then all of a sudden you have some type of scandal to where you're stealing money, or which she's gonna get hit for stealing money eventually, because that's pretty much what she's doing. We all see it, allegedly. So let's continue with this canned like spam, like canned statement that you're reading from. Come out here and be genuine. It would be easy. Kind of like Trump. Trump don't really use teleprompters and speeches and all of that. Just come out here and say what it is. I fucked up. We as a city government fucked up, as a state government fucked up, but the Democrats would never do these type of things. They would never do it. And then she's talking about the actual fire and the stats on the fire. No, the fire shouldn't have happened in the first fucking place. It should not have happened. So continue.
To those who fled their homes, especially those who have lost your homes, our hearts are breaking for you, and we stand with you. I know the world is looking at images of our city's devastation.
Our hearts are breaking for you because that's what it says on this piece of paper that I'm reading.
I have seen the front lines of the Palisades fire, and it is staggering. I've been in constant contact with our fire commanders, with county, state, and federal officials. I took the fastest route back, which included being on a military plane, which facilitated our communications.
She said she took the fastest route back from Ghana. When she was over in Ghana as a spectator, I would guess, in a presidential inauguration in Ghana. But you know what? You shouldn't have been over there in the first place when they alerted you a week before you left to go to Ghana to witness this presidential inauguration. But you know what? We gonna save all this. You took the fastest route back, including a military plane. Are we supposed to give kudos to you, frizzy head lady? Incompetence is what to speak of. But even more than that, it speaks of Marxism. These people want to destroy the United States of America. That's what they want to do. And they're doing it, especially in California. This is what they're doing. You have wildfire seasons, that means wildfires are expected. How can you not be prepared for it? They can say all these things. You have a wildfire season. You expect it. The fires are going to pop up. That doesn't mean those fires need to spread. You should be prepared for this. You should not take away almost $18 million from the fire department. You should not request $49 additional dollars to be taken away from the fire department. And when you were questioned about it, you told them to find the $49 million to take away. The state of California takes away $100 million from fire protection statewide, which one would say Los Angeles is one of the biggest, if not the biggest city in California. Most of that will affect them more than any other community in California. But you're going to get your frizzy head self up here and you're going to say you took the fastest way back possible, which that should have even been the case. And the fires were I was going to say the fires were preventable. No, that's not the case. What I will say is the spread of the fires were 100% preventable.
I was able to be on the phone the entire time of the flight. We are fighting for you and everyone in Los Angeles. Thank you to our first responders who waited in the flames, pulled people from cars, and got them to safety no matter how dangerous. And thank you to everyone who heeded our warnings to evacuate. Tonight, more people may get evacuation orders, and if they do, please leave immediately. If you have an evacuation warning, get ready to go. Protect yourself and each other and support our firefighters on the front lines. Our strategy included preparations and pre-deployment, and it now includes fire crews from around the state and from our federal partners. We are also adapting in real time. These winds continue to blow. So let me be clear. I am making sure that we leave no resource untapped. Firefighters are now on scene from across the state and across the country. I spoke with President Biden today and Governor Newsom earlier today, and they assured me of full federal and state support. As we head into tonight, we are still facing strong and erratic winds. In Palisades and in Sylmar, we are very much in an active firefight. I can report to you that the Woodley fire, however, in the Sepulveda Basin is under control. I can also report that finally air operations have resumed, and that is a big deal, but it is up to the winds as to how long the air support can continue. But these conditions are highly volatile.
Okay, it's up to the winds. It's up to the winds, right? And again, it's fire season. Santa Ana winds happens every year. Couple times a year, but it's up to the winds. These people don't care about people. They don't. They want to burn this mother down. That's what they want to do. And literally in California, that's what's happening, right? I heard this report from an independent news source that Jill Biden told Joe Biden, you going out, she told Joe, because we know Joe is out in left center field, over the fence, in the parking lot, or if you're on Wrigley Field, he's out there in the street with the street vendor selling hot dogs. He's out. He's gone mentally. She told Joe Biden, well, you're on your way out. Burn this mother Hubbard down. And some of the things that Joe Biden has done on his way out in his last few days, he tried to burn that mother down. And that's what these people are doing out there in California. One of the most, if not the most, beautiful states in this country. You can go skiing in the daytime. You can go put your swimsuit on and go to the beach 2-3 hours later. Just as long as it takes you to get from the mountain to the beach. How freaking awesome is that? Mountains, beaches, forest, wetlands. One of the most beautiful states. There's been a prediction. Hold on. So there's been geological models that says eventually with an earthquake, California is going to float off into the Pacific Ocean. Now, at the expense of the residents of California, we don't want that to happen. Now, what could happen is if you get all the leadership in California and the politicians and all the people in charge, not all the people, because some of them, they're kind of caught in the middle of this shit. But we'll just say the people in charge. We'll just say the leadership. When that earthquake happened and California breaks off of the western part of the United States and it just floats out into the Pacific Ocean, That needs to happen because all the geological models show it. And by the way that the state of California is governed, you can see it in some people's views, including mine, that might be justified.
Seen a devastating fire in the Pasadena area. Fires have sparked up in Simi Valley and on the LA and Ventura County line. And as our firefighters do battle on the front lines, all of us must be vigilant. So if you receive an evacuation order, please leave immediately. If you receive a warning, get ready, protect yourself and protect each other, and don't divert firefighters from our strategy. Signals are out and the roads have debris, so stay off the roads unless you are evacuating or have another emergency. Be prepared, food, water, medicine, a bag packed and ready. Again, this is an active situation. And conserve water to the extent that you can. We want to make sure that we are ready if we need more water. But make no mistake, Los Angeles will rebuild stronger than ever. Right now, if you need help, emergency information.
She's telling the residents to conserve water when they had an opportunity to have plenty of water over the past 2 years in a very arid area. It's, if anybody look up It Never Rains in Southern California by the group Tony. Right? That's an old R&B group, was it back in the 90s, late 80s, whatever the case may be. Great song. But it's true. Overall, it really does not rain in Southern California because it's an arid climate. I lived in Southern California for 4 years. I don't really remember seeing rain. If I did see rain, it was on the news. It was an emergency, because then you think about mudslides and all this type of stuff. So therefore, if you get rain, take advantage of the rain. That's why they have reservoirs out in California. One of their biggest reservoirs with 117 million gallon capacity was empty. For whatever reason. We don't know what the reason is. We don't care. It should not have been empty. They say it was to make repairs to the reservoir. Okay, fine. You can make repairs, but does it have to be empty? California has had record rainfall over the past 2 years. Where did all that water go? You have reservoirs all over the place because you need water because it doesn't rain. Where the water go? Well, the water just went to the Pacific Ocean. They just let it drain down from Canada and the mountains of California, and it just went to the Pacific Ocean. Because in the interest of climate change, preserving the environment, and all of this nonsense, to save some type of fish. In the meantime, in the Palisades, houses are burned to the ground. But, so let me get this right. You want to preserve the environment in the interest of climate change, but you do things that are detrimental to stopping fires from happening, which damages the environment. It destroys the environment, as a matter of fact. As opposed to if you treated the environment before the fire started these fires wouldn't have really spread. I'm not going to say they're not going to happen. The fires would not have spread in the first place. Make that shit make sense.
Information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance of Angelenos, and the spirit of our city. This is a big moment. It is a big moment for all of us to come together, for Angelenos to be united, for Angelenos to be prepared to help each other. This is who we are. LA will rise, and make no mistake, I am confident that we will rebuild.
And then I'm trying to figure out, why does this type of thing just trigger me so much? There's something bigger than just these politicians that's going on with this thing. It's something much bigger than that. But I can only go back to them, because they are the ones that are passing these policies and allowing these things to happen. So I'm starting to think, are these things intentional? What is the end goal besides destroying everything and then getting reelected and trying to rebuild everything, which will be a task in itself? Democrats create problems. They do things to solve the problem, and then they want credit for solving the problem. And I've thought that way for a long time, and it looked like that's the way that this is going, because I can see them coming out and saying, well, the wildfires of 2025 cost this and cost that, so here's what we are doing now. We're filling up the reservoirs, we're treating the forest to where these things will not spread. Well, you should have did that shit in the first place. So anyway, I don't understand why these Los Angeles fires just like trigger me. It is trigger me. I guess it triggered me because it shouldn't have even happened. And then because, of course, in the Palisades in particular, it affects all these millionaires, I mean, they have families, they're people. But then it affects regular people. But at the same time, I'm like, these people, y'all voting for this bullshit. Y'all voting for this climate change. If you look up on the grand scale of things, the climate has been changing since the Ice Age. There were ice caps, polar ice caps, many hundreds, millions of whatever years ago, and they started melting, and they continue melting to today. There's been climate change forever, so the climate is forever going to be changed. Mankind really doesn't have an effect on climate change. We are a blip as far as climate change goes. It's not a real thing. If you're on Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Sound like a lot of work, don't it? Go on YouTube, Mr. Info 5000. Peace.